The midday bustle in the Kuala Lumpur police canteen echoed with the clatter of cutlery and the lively chatter of officers. Alara and Michael secured a corner table, trays laden with the day's offerings. As they dug into their meals, Michael commented between bites, "The menu today is surprisingly good." Alara nodded in agreement, "Yes, finally some decent food after all the complaints." Michael acknowledged, "They seem to have listened to us for once." "Indeed," Alara replied. The conversation shifted gears as Michael casually mentioned, "Your sister and Ibrahim appear to be having a good time in Malacca." Alara was momentarily surprised. He set down her fork and fixed Michael with a curious gaze. "How did you find out about them going to Malacca?" "Social media is buzzing with their pictures. Haven't you seen them?" Michael responded. Alara admitted, "I'm not much into social media." Michael pulled out his phone, navigating to the celebrity fan page account on Pinstagram. He showed Alara the series of pictures capturing Ibrahim and Ava's activities in Malacca, from exploring Jonker Market to sharing a meal in a cozy restaurant. The third image froze a moment in time along the Malacca riverbank, Ibrahim holding Ava's hand, both laughing looking at each other. Alara's features tightened with a mix of concern. He pondered silently, when did they become so close? Though he warned Ava about Ibrahim, but this pictures painted a different narrative. Less than greater than. The Mafia boss's bride. Michael noticed Alara's reaction. "Why do you seem unhappy about your sister being happy?" Handing the phone back, Ava dismissed the notion with a sigh. "Ava is young, she can't see through him. But Ibrahim, he's manipulating her to get closer. Maybe they're just getting along well. Ava looks happy in these pictures," Michael suggested. Alara disagreed. "No, Michael. I'm trying to rescue Ava from that forced marriage. If Ava starts to love Ibrahim, then..." Michael interrupted. "Starts to love Alara, she's clearly in love with her husband. You can't dismiss it. Look at the pictures again. There's another kind of glow in Ava's face." Alara shook his head. "Ibrahim married her forcefully. Love can't bloom under such circumstances. He's manipulating her emotions. Maybe things have changed. People can change, Alara. You should talk to Ava, understand her perspective," Michael suggested. Alara looked at Michael with a blend of frustration and reluctance. "I don't want Ava to get hurt. If Ibrahim is playing with her emotions, I won't stand by and watch." "Alara, you're her brother, and you care for her. But be open to the possibility that Ibrahim genuinely loves her. If Ava's happy, you should support her," Michael replied. "I can't, Michael. I can't tolerate the fact that my sister is falling in love with a criminal, a mafia like Ibrahim, even if he's her husband," Alara replied. Michael tried to simplify. "Alara, you know Ibrahim doesn't have any motive to hurt Ava. Maybe he genuinely cares for her." Alara's eyes reflected frustration. Even if his intentions are not to harm her, the foundation of their relationship is based on manipulation and force. Michael asked, "What will you do now? Will you send Ibrahim to jail? You don't even have a single proof of his illegal businesses." Alara affirmed confidently, "I will. I will send Ibrahim to jail." Michael cautioned, "Be aware, Alara. Don't create such situations. What if Ava starts to see you in another way? Like if she starts to hate you? Handle this with a cool mind." The Mafia boss's bride. ... It was another evening in Malacca. The hotel room bathed in a warm, golden glow as lights twinkled, casting a soft ambience. Ava stood before the mirror, preparing for the evening to go outside. Ibrahim, leaning against the wall, watched her with admiration in his eyes. The golden glow highlighted Ava's grace. Sensing his gaze, Ava turned and questioned, "Why are you looking at me like this?" Ibrahim's response was casual, "Won't you let me watch you?" As Ava applied lip balm, she remarked, "You always watch me like that." Ibrahim grinned, "And you should be comfortable with it by now." Securing her long hair in a messy bun with a strong hair clip, Ava teasingly replied, "I haven't thought about that. Maybe I still find it uncomfortable." Ibrahim insisted, "You shouldn't be uncomfortable now." Ava innocently asked, "Now means what changes?" We are getting along, and our relationship is getting stronger, he asserted confidently. Ava went to pick up the scarf from the bed and stood near it. Without looking at Ibrahim, stated, I don't think so. I still see you as a poison who forcefully married me. She was trying to hide her smile though Ibrahim was now behind her. He couldn't see her face. Ava was waiting for Ibrahim's response. She was well aware of his playful attempts to elicit a confession, but she was determined not to make it easy. As she bound the scarf around her neck, she finally looked at Ibrahim, raising her eyebrows. He continued to gaze at her, his eyes filled with an intensity that spoke volumes. Breaking the silence, Ibrahim posed a rhetorical question, would you marry me if I didn't force you? The Mafia boss's bride. Never. Why would I marry a man 12 years older than me? Ava replied with a touch of defiance without any hesitation. Ibrahim sighed. Now, at least, I can stop blaming myself for that act. What I did is right. Ava's eyes widened in disbelief. It wasn't right, Mr. Ibrahim. You shouldn't. Ibrahim seized her hand and pulled her closer. Ava's reaction was a subtle gulp. It was not new for her. But standing so close to Ibrahim, Ava still felt nervous. Ibrahim offered a smirk. Without those actions, I wouldn't have won you over. I'm still sorry, but look at us now, together. Ava accused him with a playful smile. You are so shameless. Ibrahim chuckled. I'm not shameless. But for you, I can be shameless and more. Raising an eyebrow skeptically, Ava inquired, oh really? Ibrahim nodded and leaned to give a soft kiss on Ava's left cheek. Ava instinctively lowered her head as she was feeling shy. Her eyes were now looking at Ibrahim's shirt. In a soft whisper, she asked, you like it when I'm shy, don't you? I like everything about you, your shyness, your anger, your hair, your lips, everything. Ibrahim added, I love the way you challenge me, your intelligence, your kindness. And your laughter, it's my favorite melody. Ava met his gaze, I'm stubborn too. Ibrahim chuckled, his finger tracing along her cheek. Especially your stubbornness, it keeps things interesting. Curiosity sparkled in Ava's eyes as she questioned, don't you find it annoying? Ibrahim leaned in, no, baby girl. It's one of the things that makes you, well, you. Ava grinned, appreciating Ibrahim's acceptance of her quirks. But her thoughts suddenly shifted to Tasha, the kitten they had rescued previous night. Tasha, where is she now? The hotel staff didn't give her back after bathing her. Ava inquired. The Mafia boss's bride. Ibrahim sighed, do you know your mind diverts so easily with a second? Gently releasing her, Ibrahim moved toward the bedside table to retrieve his wristwatch. Ava asked, didn't you just say you like everything about me? Ibrahim, now adjusting his wristwatch, turned toward her. I like everything about you, but when I talk about us, I want you to think about me, not anyone else. Ava lowered her head again. It's not that I don't think about you. I think about you. Pleased with her response, Ibrahim closed the distance between them. He gently lifted her face by placing his hand on her chin. Very good, I wanted to hear that. Now, let's go. Did I make you angry? Ava asked timidly. Ibrahim shook his head in no. Then, I'd like to see Tasha before going outside, Ava requested. She shot him a pleading look, her version of a puppy face, a tactic Ibrahim found impossible to resist. A soft smile played on Ibrahim's lips. Okay, baby girl. Your orders are at the top. The soft hum of the car engine faded as Ibrahim skillfully parked in front of her old jewelry shop. The aging jewelry shop stood as a relic of time, its exterior adorned with weathered wooden panels and faded gold lettering that hinted at its enduring presence in the community. Ibrahim turned to Ava with a quizzical look. Don't you want to step out from the car? Ava inquired, why are we here? Ibrahim gestured for her to follow as they stepped into the shop. The shop was almost empty, with only an elderly man behind the counter. Beside him stood a young boy, appearing around 14 to 16 years old. Ibrahim inquired of the boy, what about the earrings? With an enthusiastic nod, the boy exclaimed, it's fixed, sir. It's done very well. You wait here, I'm bringing it now. While the boy scurried off to retrieve the earrings, Ava subtly pulled at the fabric of Ibrahim's shirt, seeking an explanation. But Ibrahim offered, hold on for a moment. Meanwhile, the elderly man signaled Ibrahim with a simple gesture, raising his hand, palm open, and displaying 5 fingers hand with fingers splayed. Baffled, Ibrahim pulled out his credit card and offered it to the old man. However, the old man denied the payment with a shake of his head. Less than greater than. 01. In the meantime, the boy returned, presenting a small jewelry box. Observing the credit card in Ibrahim's hand, the boy explained, Grandfather can't talk or hear. He's saying no because we don't have a card swiping machine. Ibrahim asked, how should I pay? I don't carry 50,000 ringgit in cash. Check the product first, sir, and then you can pay. The boy suggested. The boy opened the small jewelry box. Madam, take a look. Grandfather fixed it so well. You can wear it without any problem now. And Ava's eyes widened, recognizing the gold earrings immediately. These weren't just any earrings, they held a precious piece of her past. When she was 8, her mother had gifted her these earrings, symbols of love and cherished memories. However, the passage of time had been unkind. The hook of one earring had dislocated, rendering it unwearable. No jeweler had managed to restore it. Her mouth forming an O of astonishment, as she gingerly took the earrings in her hands. The memories associated with them flooded back. On the other hand, Ibrahim was watching her. The joy in Ava's eyes was worth everything. If he had to cut a mountain for seeing Ava's smile, Ibrahim would do that without any hesitation. The boy, eager to share in the moment, added, Madam, Grandfather worked his magic. Wear them with pride now. Ava looked at Ibrahim, gratitude in her eyes. Did you bring me for this? No one in Kuala Lumpur fixed the earring. I went to too many jewelry workers. With a gentle smile, Ibrahim replied, it was not my work after all. You should thank the grandfather. Ava turned to the old man, holding the repaired earrings. Thank you, grandfather. Thanks a lot. The old man, though not comprehending her words, reassured her by displaying 5 fingers hand with fingers splayed. The boy signed a thumbs up to his grandfather, indicating that Ava appreciated his work. The boy proudly shared, my grandfather is famous in Malacca for his skills. Many come from far for his expertise. 01. Expressing her gratitude once more, Ava said, thanks a lot. 01. The boy took out his phone, showing Ibrahim the online scanner code for payment. Ibrahim scanned it and completed the transaction. Turning to Ava, he asked, are you happy? Ava looked at him. Oh, Ibrahim, you really made me happy today. I will remember that. Thanks a lot. They left the shop and settled inside the car. As Ava secured her seatbelt, she curiously asked Ibrahim, where did you find the earrings? Ibrahim started the car and casually replied, in your closet. One day, my eyes fell on your jewelry box, and I opened it. Ava felt a tug at her heartstrings, a surge of emotion welling up within her. She confessed, I want to cry now. As the car moved through the streets, Ava couldn't hold back the intense wave of emotions any longer. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she murmured, I want to cry so hard. Ibrahim got worried. He couldn't understand how could Ava started to cry out of the blue. He immediately pulled over and parked the car on the side of the street. He spoke softly, don't cry, baby girl. Don't you have any mercy on me. I can't bear to see your tears. Ava's crying persisted, each sob accompanied by the weight of her emotions. Attempting to express herself through tears, she managed to share, it was my favorite earrings. Even though I don't like to wear gold, I love these. Ibrahim gently insisted, Ava, please. You're breaking my heart. You liked the surprise, didn't you? Ava nodded, her words drowned in the midst of her tears. Yes, I liked it, but... Her voice trailed off. But what, baby girl? Tell me, Ibrahim asked. While wiping her tears with the back of her hand, Ava managed to convey, but it's just... too much. It's too beautiful, and I'm not used to such surprises. Ibrahim, responding with a soft smile, stated, "Well, you better get used to them because you deserve beautiful surprises. Please stop crying now, Ava." Ava gazed at herself in the rearview mirror and questioned, "Do I look like a witch now?" Her once flawless eyeliner had been smeared by her tears. Ibrahim chuckled, "No, baby girl, you look fine." Observing the traces of smudged eyeliner on her cheeks, he reached for a tissue from the dashboard and tenderly wiped away the remnants of her tears. Ava sought reassurance, "Really? Don't you find me ugly now?" Gazing into Ava's eyes, Ibrahim responded to her question with a tender smile, "Ava, your beauty transcends any definition. It's like trying to capture the essence of a sunset in mere words. Your flaws are merely brushstrokes in the masterpiece that is you. If every star in the sky were a testament to beauty, they'd still pale in comparison to the radiance you bring. You're not just beautiful, you're a celestial symphony, and I am forever captivated by the melody that is you." Ava inquired, "Do you really love me that much?" Ibrahim conveyed, "More than words can fathom, more than the universe can hold. My love for you is boundless, reaching beyond the stars and echoing in the depths of my heart." Ava, wiping away her tears, teased, "You're talking like a philosopher." Ibrahim, with a playful smirk, restarted the car, replying, "Maybe I am a philosopher." Ava burst into laughter, remarking, "Then you'll be a bad philosopher." Ibrahim, finally seeing her smile, couldn't help but smile himself. "It's our last day in Malacca. I want to drink the traditional coffee," Ava told. Ibrahim nodded, saying, "Sure, let's go." Ava added, "And I want to do some shopping too." Ibrahim assured, "Sure, baby girl." In Kuala Lumpur, another scenario was unfolding. Professor Saeed prepared tea for himself in the kitchen of his apartment. Today marked Farah's turn, she would be the fourth victim in his twisted game. 01. After brewing the tea, he poured it into a coffee mug and sauntered to the dining area. Seated on the couch, he took a leisurely sip. Unlike previous encounters with other girls, he had summoned Farah to his own apartment this time. His gaze drifted to the ornate ceiling, tracing the intricate patterns with an absent finger. However, his mind was far from vacant. It danced in a macabre waltz, fueled by memories that were anything but innocent. The pleading whispers, the desperate promises, the symphony of tears that played solely for his ears, these were the notes that resonated with Professor Saeed, the twisted melody that conducted his life. He reveled in the art of manipulation, the subtle dance of control where secrets became weapons and weakness, his trophies. The thrill of orchestrating a girl's downfall, watching her world crumble brick by fragile brick, was a perverse elixir he couldn't resist. He'd drawn out their cries, savoring each sob, each whimper that escaped her tortured lips. The way their body throbbed beneath him, a frantic butterfly pleading for release, was a perverse poem he could recite in his sleep. The thrill of seeing them crumble, their pride melting like wax in his hands, was a heady elixir and forbidden. A cruel smile played on his lips as he savored the memory of a girl, her name lost to the haze of countless conquests. "Please," she had rasped, her body wrapped with sobs, "Please, Professor, not so fast." He remembered the way her skin had flushed crimson under his touch, the way her voice had broken into a whimper as he pushed her to the brink. "Slow down," she had pleaded, her voice barely audible above her own ragged breaths. "Please, Professor, I can't take this anymore." Professor Saeed took a slow sip of his tea, the warmth of the porcelain against his lips a stark contrast to the icy fire that burned in his veins. He was a wolf in a professor's skin, his smile a mask for the predator that lurked beneath. The girls, mere pawns in his twisted game, were his canvas. He painted their lives with shades of fear, dependence, and ultimately, a crushing despair that echoed his own. For Professor Saeed, their tears were the ink, their broken hearts the brush, and their shattered souls the very essence of his art. He was the spider, and the girls, his silken prey, trapped in a web spun from secrets and shame. As the doorbell rang, Professor Saeed's focus shifted from his dark thoughts. Finally, Farah came, he muttered. 01. As the doorbell rang, Professor Saeed's focus shifted from his dark thoughts. Finally, Farah came, he muttered. Opening the door, his mood changed abruptly. Farah stood at the entrance, but she wasn't alone. Professor City loomed behind her. Cursing silently, Professor Saeed couldn't hide his displeasure. He had explicitly instructed Farah to come alone, and her disobedience fueled his frustration. His gaze toward Farah piercing like daggers. Professor City asked with a warm smile, "How are you, Professor Saeed?" Professor Saeed, forced a composed response, "I'm good, please come inside." Both Professor City and Farah entered, taking seats in the room. Professor Saeed's internal thoughts churned with worry. Had Farah disclosed his secrets to Professor City? The prospect of his true nature being exposed to a senior professor sent shivers down his spine. Professor City, noticing Professor Saeed standing, asked, "Why are you standing, Professor Saeed?" He quickly retrieved a chair and took a seat, trying to maintain composure. On Farah's end, she relished the slightly fearful demeanor Professor Saeed exhibited. She understood his fear, the fear of Professor City discovering his dark secrets. After all, Professor City was one of the senior professors in their university. If Professor Saeed's true nature were exposed to her, it meant risking not only his reputation but potentially tarnishing his standing throughout the entire university. Professor City began, "Professor Saeed, I came here to talk to you for a special reason." Less than greater than. 01. Professor Saeed looked at Farah then returned his gaze towards Professor City. He nodded to signal that Professor City could continue. "It's about Adam," Professor City explained, "though it's not pleasant to discuss this after his death. Adam has done some things that we need to address." Professor Saeed, perplexed, responded, "I'm not getting anything. What had Adam done?" Professor City disclosed, "Actually, Adam had some videos compromising the privacy of several girls from our university. Farah and some others approached me, expressing their fear that if these videos were leaked, it could lead to serious consequences for the girls." Upon hearing this, Professor Saeed clenched his fists. Farah had not revealed the full truth to Professor City. Instead, Farah used Adam's name instead of implicating Professor Saeed directly. It was a relief that Professor City remained oblivious to Professor Saeed's involvement, yet the audacity of Farah invoking Adam's name after his death troubled him. Professor Saeed swallowed hard. "How can you be sure that it was Adam?" In response, Farah swiftly showed Professor Saeed the screenshots of the chats, innocently remarking, "Look at these, Professor." Professor Saeed took the phone and saw the screenshots on Farah's phone, revealing old chats dating back 6/7 of a month. These messages exposed a side of Adam's nature that Professor Saeed was quite familiar with, considering himself something of an expert on his nephew's tendencies. Caught in a tight spot, Professor Saeed glanced at Farah but refrained from scolding her in front of Professor City. This unexpected use of Adam's name in the situation was not something he appreciated. Returning the phone, Professor Saeed glimpsed an amusing expression on Farah's face, suggesting a veiled warning. Any further attempts at blackmail would prompt Farah to reveal the entire truth to Professor City. Farah changed the whole game. She used Adam's name not only to threat Professor Saeed, but to shift power dynamics. Professor Saeed could no longer exploit the situation without risking exposure. Professor City, seemingly unaware of the underlying tension, spoke to Professor Saeed, "I haven't involved the police due to concerns about the university's reputation. But the girls shouldn't be threatened because of Adam's actions. I'm entrusting you to find those videos on Adam's devices and delete them." Professor Saeed nodded and replied, "Yes ma'am, I will take care of it. Don't worry." 01. Farah silently observed Professor Saeed's reaction. She was enjoying fully. While this action might not solve everything, it ensured the safety of the girls. Professor Saeed couldn't blackmail them anymore. If any videos surfaced on the internet, it would implicate Professor Saeed as the one who leaked them, disregarding Professor City's instructions. Professor Saeed, being Adam's close relative, valued his academic reputation, leaving him with no alternative. Professor City expressed her gratitude, saying, "Thanks for listening to me with so much patience. I thought you wouldn't believe Adam's wrongdoings." Professor Saeed innocently replied, I knew some, but I didn't know that Adam went this low. Professor City continued, yes, only for him, many students are suffering. I hope you will solve this, not just as a professor but as a guardian, for Adam and for the girls. Professor Saeed assured Professor City, I will handle this situation with utmost care, ma'am. The students' well-being is my priority. Farah, being a bit naughty, subtly raised her eyebrows and made a hand gesture OK sign that indicated Professor Saeed should handle the situation not just as a professor but also as a guardian too. Professor Saeed caught the hint but tried to hide his amusement. Professor City appreciated his commitment. I trust you, Professor Saeed. I hope this matter gets resolved soon. Professor Saeed nodded, I'll start working on it right away. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. The students' safety is a priority for me. Farah rolled her eyes on Professor Saeed's innocence. She couldn't take it more when she knew about his real nature. Professor City concluded, thank you for your cooperation, Professor Saeed. I trust you will resolve this matter appropriately. Let me know if you need any support. Professor Saeed nodded and replied, thank you, Professor City. I'll keep you updated on the progress. After a while, the conversation concluded, and both Professor City and Professor Saeed stood up. Farah joined Professor City as they prepared to leave. Professor City walked towards the door and Farah was behind her. Professor Saeed whispered in Farah's ear from behind, be ready to face the consequences of this day, Farah Ahmed. You're treading on dangerous ground. 01.